When something happened in Central Europe, it often affects at least 3 countries at the same time. And if we don't find good ways of coordinating across borders, that will be an issue going ahead.
It's difficult to get the states together to think about common guidelines. And of course, we could improve disaster risk management.
The different countries are differently organized. So, for example, in my own country, there's a very strong power coming from people themselves, so lots of volunteers, whereas in other countries it's more organized by the military or other means, so it's more difficult to have actually this relation to the people who are on the site that's impacted.
There are a lot of developments at international European level, but at the local level, authorities that implement disaster risk reduction measures, although they are aware, some of them, they do not understand how this can be done, so how they can consider the effects on their daily work, on their planning, on their prevention measures.
It was perhaps an easier discourse to communicate to the public that climate change were happening and we need to do something about that. But we need to be a lot better at integrating the efforts we do to adapt to climate change with those we do at reducing disaster risk.
Information is available very easily, but how to understand for a citizen which is the reliable information, on which basis they should do or not do something, is not so easy.
There is no awareness anymore for risk because we have reached these very high levels, so it's difficult to motivate you to think about flooding if there is no big flooding.
This is one of the big issues with disasters. It's often something that materializes quite quickly and quite violently for the people affected, but only for them.
So the problem is that there is a lot of attention in the crisis moment, whereas there is not sufficient awareness about long-term risk reduction policies and prevention policies.
As our society grows and gets more technological, it also gets more complex to foresee how the system might actually break when something happens. So there's a huge gap right now, which is about how we are able to foresee, how we're able to create scientific knowledge about disasters and turn them into policies.
We are still operating at a very abstract level and talking about language and terminology. We're starting with a national scale, but we need to incorporate the cultural framings of different groups and stakeholders. And the problem is I don't think we as a scientific community are capturing that very well. So those lessons are not being shared widely.